Okay.
Good morning.
Morning, Nick.
Good morning.
Thank you. Up first, we got Adam today. You ready, Mr. Adam? People are probably still showing up.
Yeah, give me just 1 second. I'm gonna pour a glass of orange juice. I'll be back in like 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah, sounds great. Hope you see better. Let me see here. I'm going to post a link in the chat again. Useful, very, very useful of links. Good morning, boss.
Good morning. Nick, you done?
Yeah. I just want to send this link. This spreadsheet has links to all the videos, and we'll keep updating it. So if you can't make it to some classes and you want to catch up, just keep that spreadsheet handy, and you can click on any class you like to see for the whole term.
Does that include past terms, Nick?
That does not include past terms. Oh, does it?
I think so. Yeah, there are multiple
on
tabs.
Different sheets. Yeah.
It does. Yeah. If you look at the bottom, it's separated by term.
It has a couple past terms, and if you want to go back before that sheet, go to the YouTube channel, Tibetan language channel.
Let's see.
Hang on, I just want to make a note of that myself.
Geshe Michael, your audio is a little bit soft.
Okay, hang on.
Probably just needs more coffee.
I do, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm just talking softly. How's that?
No, it's pretty soft compared to Nick.
Yeah.
Or anybody else.
Okay, I'll move this closer. Let me make sure I'm on the right microphone. Oh, you're right. How's that?
Much better, thank you.
Okay, that's the Yeti.
That's good.
All right. We are in Mr. Adam's text. Yay. Adam, you want to say anything about your text or?
So the text we're working on is called Sema Dedun Gigiki Munso. It's kind of a collection of it's a collection of, I guess, highlights from Master Dharmakirti's 7 main works. He's got an 8th, which was an auto commentary. And right now we're still trying to figure out. Yeah, right now we're confused. Yeah. We're I think we're going to spend a lot of time on looking at the difference between direct and indirect perceptions. And that's currently where we are. I mean, I could be more specific, but I'll leave it there.
Okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to switch over to my share the screen thing. And let me get this big cursor up here. Okay. And move you guys over. Get rid of this thing. Down here, maybe. Okay, good. Good morning, everybody. And I know the Americans are sleepy. I'm sorry about that. Me too. So here's a progress report. We didn't make much progress last time because we had a lot of discussions. So, and we only covered 2 folio faces. I think we could speed up to about 6. So we're going to try to do that. And I think the material gets a little easier now. I don't know why, you guys, but there seems to have been a custom to have some really difficult arguments at the beginning of these texts and then start the actual commentary. And I don't know why they did that, because it was very frustrating when I was studying the Abhidharma Kosha, because the author I was studying, he had a lot of debates at the beginning of the book that required you to know the book. Otherwise, you couldn't understand the debates. And we're in the same space here. I don't know why, maybe it's to attract other scholars so they get interested, who know about it. But it's like discussing calculus while you're still in geometry or something. And it doesn't make sense pedagogically, but anyway, we have to deal with it. So we're going to be in this book till 2026. So we got 3 years to go. And no whining about it. Adam, you're a young man. And by the time you finish, Ava will be telling you more what to do.
I'll be whining more about that, I think, yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Mr. Nick, you want to check Adam? Okay.
You got it.
Ona, Jipak Seme Chitsin Chelna, Shidan Jelwar, Chelwaham, Mandrelwar, Jelshena.
Yeah. So what's Jepaksema, Adam?
It's an indirect accurate perception.
Yeah, so it's like when you figure something out instead of seeing it directly. Okay. And then when you close your eyes and figure out something like, where's the cup on my desk? Because I said it there a few minutes ago. I have a cup in my mind, and that's just an image of a cup in my mind. And we call that a
Chitsin.
Yeah, so it's an archetype or a mental picture of the cup. Gel means what? Shell or gel?
Considered.
Yeah, when I close my eyes and I think about the cup that I set on the table a few minutes ago, okay, is that cup in your mind, is that connected to an actual cup or not?
You could say, yeah.
I think you could say, yeah. So he says, this is the other guy, right? The guy who's always debating against us. He says, are you considering that mental cup as it is connected to the actual cup, or does it have no connection to an actual cup in reality? Okay. Which one is it? What do you guys think before we get there?
Seems like you could do either.
And you kept saying a couple of terms ago that there is an intimate connection between the two. So
yeah,
we'll go with that.
Yeah, but I do agree with Ben that there are purely theoretical things that you can consider, that you've. But then we're gonna learn something about that. Okay. And our answer is, please read, Adam.
Shidan Jowarn Jowe Kapte Jipak Seme rangi shelja yina ta latene jowe capechero.
Yeah, and our answer is kava means always. It's always
Mhm.
when you consider the cup as a mental image, it's always shidan-do.
Yeah, there's a relation to the basis, or yeah.
Yeah,
There's a
it's always
to the
connected
upper
to an actual cup. Always.
Mhm.
That's our answer, right?
Mhm,
Uh,
mhm.
Jebak Teme Rangi Shel Jayina. Because if something is a thing which is considered by thinking, by logic, right? Close your
Mhm.
eyes and think of if something is an object of logic, it's always depends, it's always perceived through a reason. Okay.
Okay.
Through a reason. Kya, okay. So that's interesting. I if
Oh.
I perceive something,
Yeah.
if I close my eyes and see the cup in my mind with logic, it's because I gave myself a reason why the cup is still there.
Okay. So we're saying, I mean, and when in one way, we're kind of saying that the reason itself is the connection.
Yeah, and we're implying that the reason must imply the actual cup somehow. Okay. Like I saw it before I closed my eyes. You see what I mean? Because I saw it before I closed my eyes. You see what I mean? So there's something to do with the reason that involves the actual cup, but the conclusion is the mental cup. Okay. But that mental cup is always connected to a actual cup because it's only perceived through a reason.
Yeah.
Okay. Somehow. Okay.
Right.
I'm not sure I agree yet, and I can always feel Mr. Kramer when he doesn't quite agree with something. I have this sixth sense. Okay. Okay, keep going, Adam. Oh, I have a proposal for you guys. Nick, I don't know. A last term, because you guys are reading is boringly correct now, we allowed the audience to try to read, and then Adam could correct them. So is that good for you guys?
It is.
So Adam, I have a proposal that you choose somebody from the audience, and then you correct.
Okay.
Nick has a question.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
Ken, did you want to remind to let people know that your computer might
Oh, my computer blows up once in a while, and if I leave, Adam, you just kind of sing a song or show pictures of Ava, and I'll be back. I'll be back within 2 minutes. Okay, my computer has a thing.
So
Okay.
just to double check here, if it says co-host next to the name and the participants list or interpreter, they're probably occupied, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go with Alex Rivas then.
Well, that's a trouble.
Oh, fine choice.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Please go slow, you guys, so Adam can criticize you nicely.
Dana, Ditar, Chitsen, Chuchen, Kyuje, Pakse, Mengu, Go.
No.
Go.
No. It's you know that one's that ng is a little difficult sometimes, but
Go. Okay. Sumgel, Wartel, Bumpetra, Dumde Q,
yeah,
Q,
yeah.
Yimpar, Jepak, Seme, Gusulngel,
Try that one more.
Ngu,
Yeah,
Ngusulngel, Weichir.
that's really good, man. Yeah, and the Churchen, I guess it's kind of traditional to stretch that one out. So you'd say like Chitzen Churchen.
Okay, Chuchen, Weichir.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Therefore, this is how it is. De na ditar. Therefore, here's how it is. Let's consider Chichen. What's that mean, Adam?
Let's consider archetypes, mental images.
Yeah, let's think about the cup as a mental image, okay? Isn't it true, Tal, that that cup as a mental image is directly perceived by figuring it out, right? By logic, closing your eyes and logic. Is it right? So the mental image of the cup is perceived by during an act of logic. Okay, when I don't look at the cup on my desk right now, and Adam says, "Did you have a cup there a minute ago, Geshe-la? Is the cup still there?" And I can close my eyes and say, "Yeah, I think the cup's still there. I didn't hear it drop or anything." When I figure out the cup is still there, the cup that I'm seeing in my mind is the mental cup, not the real cup. Okay, right? That's all. When you use J-Paxema, when you use logic, the cup that you perceive is always the archetype cup, the mental image cup, not the real cup. Okay, not the outside cup. Okay, the eye sees the outside cup, but the logic sees the theoretical cup. Good.
Is this so? This is their reply.
No, this is our justification for saying that you must be seeing the actual cup when you use. You must have seen the actual cup when you use logic. Okay.
Okay, so the tell is going down.
Yeah. No, it's going up because we believe it. Okay. Muslim Joe tell. Yeah, you do.
Okay.
You do too. Okay. Why? Because Bumbe Jordan Day, because when you use logic, what you're saying is the thing that the word cup applies to is being seen as a mental image. Okay. It's very difficult here. Okay. Bumbe Jordan means what the name cup refers to. Bumbe Jordan means what the name cup refers to. Okay. You are seeing that cup as a chichen, as a mental image, when you use logic. When you use logic, you are seeing the actual cup as a mental image of a cup, because logic you can do with your eyes closed. Okay.
Yeah.
And he doesn't say, what he's saying is, he's making it difficult for us. He doesn't say the actual cup is being seen in an act of logic as the mental image of the cup. He doesn't say that. He says what the name cup refers to is being seen as a mental cup in an act of logic. And then the idea is that what the name cup refers to is the outside cup. Okay, because name cup is the mental image of cup. And this is a deep thing, the name cup and the mental image of cup in an act of logic are very, very similar. Okay, the name cup, in the beginning was the word, right? The name cup is very similar to the mental image of cup. But what the name cup refers to is a plain old cup. Okay, so he's pushing us here. He says, look, the thing that the name cup refers to, which is this outside cup on my desk, in an act of logic, is perceived as an archetype, as a mental cup. Okay, so the real cup in an act of logic is perceived as a mental cup, but he doesn't say real cup. He says what the thing that the name cup refers to. God did. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
By the way, we're almost done with his showing off that he can confuse people, and he's about to start the real book. Okay.
Wow.
So have hope. Have hope. Okay, Adam, you choose a victim.
Let's see here. Let's up again. Aishan. Oh, she's interpreting. She's translating. Let's go with Anatole.
Whoa. You're gonna get a Vietnamese Spanish accent on this.
Để tá bún bề tra tần bề kia tử trúc bề bề tắc yang tắc yết bề chia rô.
Nice, good. So if I saw the cup when we started the class, then I was focusing on Adam, and I wasn't looking at the cup anymore. And then you said, Gesla, is there a cup on your desk? I say, I can close my eyes and say, yeah, because it was there when we started class. And I didn't hear it fall off or anything. Okay. So Bumbe Draden means the thing that I'm talking about when I say the cup that was there before class, right? When the Draden means what I'm referring to when I say the word the cup before class, okay, which is the real cup, the outside cup. When I mentally close my eyes and prove to myself that it's still there, then that rangsen, that actual cup on the outside that I saw before class, has now shifted to a mental cup, to a chitsen. Kiddu means chitsendu, as a mental image of a cup, okay? So especially, he says here, dak yang dak. What's that mean, Adam? Dak yang dak.
Well, this is a correct reason.
Yeah, and that's important to say here. Why? I could have all kinds of mental images in my head that are incorrect, okay? I could say the cup became white or something, without any proof, with no logic. I could just make up stuff. That would still be a chitsen. That would still be a mental image, but it'd be a false mental image. So when you stipulate that this object has been perceived through correct logic, a good reason, then that mental image is real, okay? And it has a referent. It has a real cup it refers to, okay? Cool.
Yeah.
Who's next, Adam? Who are we gonna?
Pull it up quick here. Going down the list. So what about Bertha?
Ooh.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. We saw all your grandkids. They're very beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Drup Wei, Dang Mi Tsung Te.
Drupja.
That's right. Drupja Dang Mi Tsung Te, Shi Chik Gi, Tengdu Tragyang.
Tak Yang Dak.
Oh, Tak Yang. Dagi Truwei Yimpala. Drupja.
Yeah.
Pala. Tragyang Dagi Truya Yimpama Chep.
Yimpe.
Yimpe, that's right. Yimpe Ma Kya.
Yimpe Ma Kya. Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, that's really good. You're dangerously good. Okay. Now he throws it. By the way, he's just thinking on another level. He says, Drupja Dang Mitsum. You cannot say, by the way, that all this stuff about what the name refers to, which is the real cup, and the mental image of the cup, the chitsen that you see when you use logic, that discussion does not hold true with the Drupja, with what you're trying to prove. Drupja, always think 1 + 2. When we say Drupja, always think 1 + 2. In a logical statement, here we go. Let's take, let's take the cup. let's take the cup that was there when we started class. And there's number one. Number two, if that cup is still there. Number three, because I didn't hear it fall down or anything. Okay. It's still, it must still be there. Okay. So my assertion, which is drupcha, what I'm trying to prove, my assertion is that the cup that I put there before class is still there. Okay. That's my assertion. What's my reason is that I put it there. I didn't hear it fall down. It must still be there. Okay. So he says, by the way, this whole thing I just mentioned about what the to and the mental image is not true. It's not equivalent with what you're trying to prove. Okay. What you're trying to prove, what I said about the real one and the mental image of it, or the real one being the object of the name and the mental image of it. Now we're talking about the fact that the cup is still there. Okay. The fact that this cup is still there. That all this stuff doesn't refer to that fact. Okay. Why? Just because something is a correct, because if something is the assertion which is proven with a good reason, okay? Right? When we say good reason,
it has, yeah.
Go ahead. You're about to say it. Go ahead.
Yeah, it looks like it is what's applied to the basis, that they are the same thing.
Yeah, and don't forget this thing. This is a very deep thing. According to Buddhist logic, all existing things, okay, all things, whether they exist or not, can serve as a reason. Okay, I don't hate you because I have no reason to hate you. That's something's not there, but it's still a reason. Okay, even something which doesn't exist can be a reason. Okay, and something that doesn't exist can be a good reason. All right, but it cannot be a good reason in a particular context. Okay, and in Buddhist logic, whether or not what you say to your wife is logical or not depends on the context. Okay, depends on it's context dependent. So when you say dak yang dak in Buddhism, a good reason, you must say de drup kita yang dak, de drup kita in the context of what you're trying to prove. Okay, there's no such thing in Buddhism as a good reason divorced from a context. Okay, otherwise all reasons are good if there's no context, right? Even non-existing things can be good reason if there's no context. Okay, got it?
Yeah,
so yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you how to treat the shichiki tengdo. Just it's on top as one with the.
Oh no, this means relevant to one case. With regard to one case.
Okay, that's what you were saying in this context.
Yeah,
in this specific, okay.
In the context of one case. Okay, in the context of a particular case.
And
okay,
then the tengdu?
In one, tengdu means relating to a certain circumstance. Okay, here it just means relating to. Okay, it doesn't mean on top. Yeah, so shichiki tengdu means in one context, in a particular context. Okay. So it's not necessarily the case that thing which is a correct statement in one context is, quote, a correct statement in all contexts. Okay, and I'll give you an example. Let's consider the cup that was on my desk before we started class. All right, it's still there. Because it's a full moon.
Right.
Okay. Am I still trying to prove something?
Yes, you are.
Do I still have a drupja?
Yes,
Yeah.
you do.
The cup is still there. Okay. Is it a Tayandaki Jubcha?
No way.
No, it's not an idea which is established through a correct reason. It's an idea which is not established through an irrelevant reason. Okay. So, but it's still what I'm trying to prove. Okay. It's still Drupcha. I'm still trying to prove the cup is still there. I just don't have a good reason anymore. Okay. All right. What I'm trying to prove is the same. Let's take the cup that was there before class. It's still there because I didn't hear it fall down. The thing I'm trying to prove, Drupcha, is that the cup is still there. And my reason is a tak yang dak. It's a good reason. But I could make the same statement with a bad reason. I could say, let's consider the cup before we started class. It's still there because it's a full moon outside. Okay. And that's the Drupcha is the same. What I'm trying to prove is the same. But now that Drupcha is not a Drupcha of a correct reason. Okay. And that's what he says in the reason here. He says, Tayan daki Drupcha yimbe makyap. Makyap. Okay. Just because something is true in one context doesn't mean it's necessarily true in every other context. That's all. Okay, that's all. Okay, cool. That's tricky. Here we go. Who's up next, Adam?
Let's see. We go back down here. Uta, can you help us, Uta?
Ooh.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah.
Chi chik di teng du jepatsa tseme
Shell?
shell ya yina
Shelja.
selja yina jepatsema
Seme.
seme shelja yinpa kyapechero.
Nice.
That sa suffix, you want to stretch it out just a little bit. It says yimpe.
Yinpe.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay, good. So shichiki tengdu Adam means in a particular context or with regard to a particular object like a cup, okay, like an outside cup, okay. With regard to a particular context, if something is the thing which we perceive using correct logic, okay? If something is a thing which we perceive using correct logic in a particular context, okay, then it's always something which we perceive with indirect perception, with logic, okay? So that thing which we perceive, in this case, a cup, right, being still there, if we perceive it in one correct circumstance, then we can say that cup has been perceived by logic. When you prove that a cup is still on the table, Adam, when you prove that a cup is still on the table, are we talking about proving the real outside cup, or are we perceiving a mental cup when we prove that it's still there?
We're perceiving a mental cup.
Good. Yeah, good. So when you talk about cup as an object of logic, as something you prove with logic, it's always the mental version. It's the archetype. Okay. Got it? That's tricky.
Yeah.
What logic establishes is the presence of an archetype, not of a cup. But because the cup is tied to the archetype, we can say the outside cup is there if they are tied together. Okay, that's cool, right? Direct perception in this school is always the outside cup, the real cup. Okay, direct sense perception. But when you use logic, the cup you are seeing in your mind is in your mind. Okay, and that's still a real cup. Okay, because that cup has a connection to the outside cup. Okay, cool.
Geshe, the quick question about Jipak Sema.
Yeah,
Just for translation time when I'm sitting down, I've been using deductive accurate perception.
I like it. I like
okay.
it. Yeah.
I just want to make sure we want to
Yeah.
stick with that.
I'll ask you a question. Could you say accurate deductive perception?
I mean, I guess if you wanted to.
No, it's
Sure.
not the same. It's not the same. You do have to use this clumsy deductive accurate perception because it's the opposite of a direct accurate perception. You see what I mean?
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. You'd want to be its parallel word wise.
Yeah, exactly. You cannot say accurate deductive perception. You see, I mean, you have to say a deductive form of accurate perception. Yeah.
So, if we want to, just to make sure I see what you're saying, no, I'm not missing something philosophically. If we were going to say accurate deductive perception, we'd have to also say accurate direct perception.
Exactly, and that's not what it's about. Yeah.
If we establish that the outer object is necessarily connected to the archetype, then even establishing the archetype logically, would that not also logically establish the outer object?
Yeah,
and then amount to a logical perception of the actual thing.
Yeah, and we're going there.
Okay.
In other words, Einstein could see a black hole before he saw a black hole.
Right. Maybe an actual black hole and not just the archetype of one.
Yeah, because he saw the archetype. Yeah. So in a way, Einstein saw the actual black hole. That's a great point. I think we're going there. So by the way, they don't tell you, Adam, but we're starting a critique here, which is frustrating because you get halfway through it and then you realize it's somebody else talking. And it's 3 lines long, just 2 lines long. Okay. So please choose your next victim.
Let's see here. Who's Cherry? Is Cherry here? Can she help us?
If you guys don't want to do it, just pretend that you don't know your mic's not on.
Chloe?
Yeah, Chloe.
Onami takhachuchin kyut mi takpa ngarna te
Ne.
ngay sin ma trit par ut pay go ba wai gyut ki tra mi tak Tong Ki J Park Se Ma De Shall War Kal De Trig
Try
Ten Do Shall War Shall we cheer.
Nice.
Thank you.
Wow, really good. Really good. You guys are good. Okay, here we go. To start with, Adam, what's the most famous logical statement ever done in Buddhism? Translate.
Consider sound. It's changing because it's created.
Good. Let's consider sound. It's a changing thing because it's created. Who was the opponent in that debate?
I think it was the Mimamsas, right? No, was it the? It was the. Yeah, no. It was the. It was a Hindu group that.
Some eternalist school, probably. And they. What did they say?
Yeah, they said the sound of the Vedas was eternal, was permanent, was unchanging.
Yeah, unchanging. For example, and their famous example is Om. The sound Om is unchanging, forever unchanging. Okay. And then we said, let's take the sound of Om. Of course, it's changing because it was produced, which is a depressing fact of life. Anything which is born must die, or anything which is born changes from moment to moment. Okay. Now, you guys just perceived impermanence. Okay. You just perceived when Adam and I had that conversation, you guys perceived changingness. Okay. When Adam and I talked about, is the sound Om something that changes? You perceived the concept of changing sound. Okay. You saw it through logic. Okay. We said the sound of Om is changing, and we proved it because we said because it was made. Somebody made it. Somebody made the sound. Any sound that's made has to change because the causes and conditions going into the sound lose their power as time goes by. And it's the same with your body, for example. Okay. So we say, you guys just perceived mitapa. You guys just perceived changing, the fact of changing. Let's consider that changing, okay? Kyo mitapa nga ne seme nge sin. Nge sin, the word sin is the ed in Tibetan. It's the past tense, okay? I concluded it's the past tensorizer, okay? It makes the verb past tense, okay? Sin makes the verb past tense, like E and D in English, I concluded like that, okay? So nge here is a verb, which means what, Adam? I ngepa the thing.
I was going to say ascertain, but I like the way you use conclude, and I like conclude a little better.
Maybe, but I ascertained an object, or I saw an object, saw it, period. Okay. Now, how did I see it? Sima. Okay. Through a correct perception, I saw the fact of mitakpa. Through in this case, perhaps logical perception, I saw the fact of changingness because we discussed the changingness of the sound Om. Okay. So during that discussion between Adam and me about Om, all of us perceived the fact of changing. Okay. Changingness. Okay. Got it? Now, Nge Sin means we did it at, what time is it now? Right now it's 6:42 in Arizona. We saw that changingness at 6:41. Okay, that perception is gone now. When we were discussing whether or not Om was changing, we discussed that like 2 minutes ago. Okay, so Nge Sin means, let's say that you saw 2 minutes ago that the sound of Om is a changing thing. Okay. And let's say, Majay, you didn't forget it. It was so close. It was 2 minutes ago. I mean, only a few mixed nuts can forget something that happened 2 minutes ago. I mean, it does happen. But, okay, just kidding. Let's say Majepa means, and you still didn't forget that we had that conversation 2 minutes ago. Majepa, Yepe. So in that debater's mind, Gulwe Gyu, okay, in the other guy's mind, after you prove to him that Om is a changing thing, does he still have in his mind the idea that sound is changing? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, he still remembers. I mean, it's not like we went on to the next book or something. Okay, he still has that in his mind. So now we got two perceptions of changing. The first one happened at 6:41, and it was a result of proper logic. And then the second one happened at 6:44. And it was a result of remembering. Okay. Not of proper logic. Okay. Just remembering. Okay. So Majepa, if he didn't forget that sound is changing, in his mind, is he perceiving impermanence or changing? Is he perceiving changing in this now with logic or not?
With logic, yeah.
Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
No,
No.
in the memory, during the memory.
No.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's having, yeah, I guess he's having a direct perception of the memory of.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So at 6:41, we proved it with logic. At 6:44, we checked with the guy. Do you remember that we proved this sound was changing? He says, yeah, I remember that. But at that 6:42, we didn't prove it to him again. Okay. And the status of the changing that he's perceiving has shifted.
That's right. Yeah. In the last section, there was the point that said it just happened that once you have that logical perception one time, then it's kind of valid for all.
Well,
It's
that's
not
a tricky.
Stardew.
That's we're about to not prove. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Ben's got it, but in let's say at 6:42, he was sticking to logic. At 6:44, he got lazy and said, "Yeah, I remember that." Okay, I remember it was changing. Okay, Toki Jepak Sema De Shower. Now, is that second perception a Jepak Sema or not?
Well, did we just say that it wasn't?
It is not. I think it's not, but let's see where we're going. But who's speaking right now? It's the other guy. It's the other guy. Okay. What he's saying is, oh, so according to you, when you remember that the cup was there, that must be Jepak Sema. That must be deduction. And we say, we didn't say that. And he says, yeah, you did, because you said it relates to the actual sound. Okay, that relates to the actual sound. You're still perceiving the same object. Okay. He says you must be, when you remember 2 minutes later that sound was changing, you're still focusing on the same sound. When you use logic to see that sound is changing, you are, and then a minute later, you use memory to see that sound is changing. You, in both cases, you are still making your perception with regard to sound, the same sound. Okay, the same sound. What kind of sound, Adam? If I say take sound, it's changing because it was produced by somebody. Okay, the sound I'm talking about, is that a particular sound in the world, or is it a mental image of a sound?
It's a mental image of a sound.
Good, good. And when I say, Adam, do you remember that sound is changing? And that sound, is that the actual sound or is that the mental image? When you remember.
Well, it's still
Yeah, it's still just a mental image. It's still just a mental image. You close your eyes and you say, yeah, I remember Gisela. We proved it at 6:41. So whether you're talking about memory or whether you're talking about logic, the object you're talking about is a mental image and not the real thing. Can we say that?
Sure.
Yeah, so far so good. Okay, so far we don't have any problems. Now that guy's not done with us. Okay, he's cooking us. All right, give me another reader, Adam.
Somebody here. What about Christina Katsuka?
Okay. Dona Jepak de Che Zungyorshin Sema Gankrong Chik Dön Me Dungyor Roshena.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so Adam, here we go. This is difficult. At 641, we proved that sound was changing thing.
Okay.
At 649, now you can still remember what we proved, okay? In each case, the sound we're talking about is just a mental picture of the word Om, actually.
Okay.
And it's not the actual Om, okay? It's not the sound when somebody's reciting mantras or something. It's just an idea. It's just a picture, okay? And if the Om that you perceive with the logic is a valid mental picture of Om, and if the Om that you perceive with memory is a valid mental picture of Om, then the Om has become, how do you say? Then the original logic could just as well have been a memory.
Yeah.
Can you say it again, Geshe?
I'll say it again.
Yeah.
If the Om you see with your logic at 641 is a real valid mental picture of Om, and if the Om that you see with your memory and not with logic, 6 minutes later or something, is a valid mental image of Om. If the mental image of Om in each case is valid and equivalent, then the memory could just as well have been a deduction, and the deduction could have just as well been a memory.
Mhm.
And the memory was a deduction because the status of the object is the same.
Yeah, there's no difference in the quality between the two.
No, there's no difference in the object. Therefore,
It's kind of
therefore, the memory was a deduction, and the deduction was a memory.
Mhm.
And what's wrong with that in this school?
The
Sorry to be
memories are
really
not
rude, but
valid.
Yeah, in this school, memories are not valid perceptions. In this school, okay? The thing has gone. The object has gone. Is it still a mental image of sound? Yes, but it's gone. Okay, so, something like that. Okay. In this school, a memory is not a valid deduction. It's not a valid perception. Okay. Wow, we know that, right? Memories can get really screwed up. Okay. Your memory of your last girlfriend or something, I mean, that changes every day. Okay. That object changes every day. Okay. So cheche, by the way, you guys may not remember this word, but it's a fancy word for recollection. So cheche in this school is a recollection at Sema, Adam.
Okay.
It is not. Okay. It is not. Okay. Cheche, a recollection, is not a valid perception. It's too vague because the object you're looking at is past. It's already gone by, you know. It's too shifting to be. But in the higher schools, can a memory be an accurate perception?
it can.
Yeah, it can. You can have a valid memory. But in this school, the object of a memory is not valid object. Okay. It's not a real object. Okay. It's not even the mental image of an object. Okay. The correct mental image. Okay. Good.
Mhm.
Okay. So JPOC, the original perception of the impermanence of sound would have had to have been a memory because the status of the object in each case is equivalent. Okay. Okay. Then he says something, then he gets really funny. He says, so one of those two accurate perceptions, either the first one where you figured out that Om was changing,
Doesn't have any object.
or the second one where you remembered that you figured out that sound was changing, one of them is superfluous.
Yeah.
If they are both valid, one of them is useless. Okay. One of
What are
them
the
is
two
just
again, boss?
the original logical perception that sound is changing,
Mhm.
and the memory that you logically perceived that sound was changing.
Mhm.
Okay, since the objects are equivalent, they are both mental images of changing sound, then why have two perceptions? Why repeat the same perception twice? One of them has to be denme. One of them has to be meaningless, Okay, and that, by the way, does that apply? What we're saying is, if the memory is as valid as the original perception, then you could just live in memories your whole life and they'd all be valid. Okay, that they don't like that. This second school of Buddhism, they say memories cannot have the force of direct perception of the original perceptions. Okay, memories do not have the validity of the original perception. If they did, then it'd be superfluous to have a second valid perception. Okay,
And is that's their reason for holding memories to be invalid?
Well, that's a very interesting question, Adam, and I think you're very close. Maybe this is the argument they use to say that Cheche is not Sema. Okay, recollection is not Sema. Okay. By the way, if you think about it, a recollection doesn't have a word in Tibetan. You can't say Temba because that means the capacity to recollect. So I think Cheche is a necessary word in this school. You got to learn that word. Okay, it's a reflection, a later reflection on a truth that you learned earlier. Okay, and in this school, it's not as valid. Okay,
Geshe, Cheche also refers to things that you've perceived with direct perception.
That's a good point. I believe so, Nick. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. I remember that I set it's a Cheche when I remember that I set the cup down on the desk today. Okay, that's also a Cheche. Yeah.
So then the second, then the perception that we had at 642 would not be Cheche. Is that what you and Nick just?
Well, no, he's saying the perception I had at 600 when I set the cup down on the table. The perception I had that perception was a direct
original direct perception. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, over time, it has just been
and at 642, I figured out that I had that perception.
Yeah, I get
and then
it.
at 649, I remembered that I figured out that okay. And that third one in their school is not as valid. Okay. All right. Adam's going to translate that next paragraph. And I want to see your hairline recede as much as mine, trying to get through that paragraph. Okay.
I'll spend some time with it. Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's not going to be easy. This is cool stuff, right? Oops.
Yeah, definitely.
Can we have a wrap up, please?
Oh, yeah. Adam, you want to take a shot? I mean,
I'll go back as far as I can.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, and please correct me and feel free.
You have to use memory, Adam.
Yeah, totally. No,
Yeah.
I use direct perception of what we said 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. Yeah. So we're talking about sound as it applies to previous objects and reference, and whether or not mental images can. Well, hold on. Let me restart here. Yeah. So I guess if we just went back to the current argument, we're trying to prove whether or not memories or recollections are valid or not. And we said that there are two different instances of both. So when Geshe said that he put his coffee cup down on the table at 6 o'clock, that was the direct perception. Then at 6:41, we used a logical reason to go through and prove that it was probably still there because the cup never hit the floor and we didn't hear any kind of evidence suggesting that it wasn't there. So And then we talked about maybe a minute or two later, if we had a recollection of the logical statement that was proving its existence, that would also be a hold on. And that's kind of it's still a little unclear. So we're still gonna reach a conclusion based on whether or not it's that's a direct or indirect. I want to say direct or indirect, but I don't know if that's really the correct terms or not. Yeah.
And I'll take you a little further. When I set the cup down on the table at 6 o'clock, that was a real outside cup that I confirmed with a sense perception. When I closed my eyes at 6:42 and saw the cup still on the desk with my logic, that cup shifted from a real outside cup to an archetype, to a mental image of a cup. When I remembered that I proved the cup or set the cup down, then the cup shifted in this school to some kind of shifty mental image, like not perfect mental image. But I'll throw something at you guys. Which of these three is the real cup according to the highest school?
No such thing.
Do they all hold equal kind of ontological, like?
Well, according to Adam's first book, that second one comes pretty close because it's just a mental image coming out of a seed. It's just a luminous mental image coming out of a seed. The cup, the outside cup, is also just the result of a luminous mental image, an archetype coming out of a karmic seed. The higher school of Buddhism is very close to saying that the theoretical cup is the real cup.
Okay.
And then you can make cups at will. If that's true, you can make cups at will. You can, and then you don't have to die and samsara is wiped out and all kinds of good stuff. All right. Mr.
We have a Q&A coming up now with Mr. Sugang Shi. So if anything was left unclear or you don't remember properly, hopefully Sugang will clear it all up for you. And then after that, we have an online yoga class with Uta. So please stick around for that.
I like Uta's classes because they are, you get exercise, but she doesn't kill you needlessly.
So Geshe-la, I just, something to think about for the next 8 hours, 9 hours. You were saying, you gave us 3 examples of how the higher school would differ from the second school in relation to how to view the cups. You said number 2, they were on the verge of saying, but you didn't actually say that they believed that. So I'm just wondering which one holds supremacy within that trio.
I would still say the second one, but it's not exactly the same as the cup which the Madhyamika is talking about. It's just the mental image that comes out before it hits the pieces. Okay, before it hits the pieces. Yeah, that's you got to think about that. Yeah,
I will.
Right.
There's no real cup, but there's no realer cup than that.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's the only thing that makes it possible to not die or not become enlightened or to become enlightened. That's the only thing that makes it possible. Yeah.
Ben, do you have a second?
Oh, sure. Yeah. You want to catch me in the room of that other meeting that I need to see you at? Yeah. Yeah, okay. I got a second. I got a quick second. Yeah, totally. Do we have a break, Nick?
We have like 2 minutes. So.
Okay. I got 2 minutes, Adam.
Sugang, at your leisure for when you need to start. If you need to.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
See you guys tonight. See you guys tonight. Thank you, Geshe-la. Good job, Adam. Good job, everybody reading. It's very impressive. Yeah, we'll keep doing that. Okay. Bye.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Bye.
Bye. Did you say did you send a new link to another meeting?
Yes, there is a.
Okay. Yeah. I'll go look just to check my email. Okay.
Yeah.
If you like WhatsApp or what do you prefer? What do you prefer, Adam?
You know, I think I'm missing something here because I was just going to ask Ben I was just going to like, maybe there's something out there. Well, yeah, you just said that the object that's coming from a mental image is the realist kind of the closest approximation to a reality that we have. If we have a real cup, then that number.
What are the three? What are the three again? Help me get it right.
You help me get it right. So the second, yeah, totally. This is why I was trying to ask for further clarification when I asked Geshe-la that, and we kind of stuck with that number two. Yeah, so you've got a memory, which was number three. A memory was the third. The mental image that is kind of being superimposed over the actual object is number two, and I'll have to refresh my the first one.
Yeah, if we say the actual object, like the real object out there, the actual physical cup, the rangsen, right? The changing actual item in the world that acts as an inspiration for the mental image that we later remember. We do accept this middle one in the middle way school. We don't accept the first one in the middle way school. Right?
And the first one was the existence of an actual object independent of our own independent of our own interaction with it. So an external world that kind of exists freestanding of our own perceptions. Right?
Yeah, a real actual object out there. I think changing in and of itself, right?
Okay, so I've got that, but what I heard you say was the cup, because this is why I was asking Geshe-la about number two for clarification, which is okay. So you had said that if we put a cup on the table, that cup that is on the table that is being superimposed with some sort of a mental image. That is the closest thing that we have to real.
The mental images.
It's not real.
Right. Yeah. Because
so I'm just wondering, based on and this is the crux of why I was like, this is exactly what I wanted to ask you. So, and I just want to make sure that I'm understanding what you're saying. Are we saying that there is no reality? There is. How do we define real in that context? You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, we have to be careful with the word reality because reality, of course, can be a synonym for self-existent. And right, there is a reality. There are two realities, right? There's deceptive reality and there's ultimate reality. So what I'm saying is that the deceptive reality exists. The idea of a cup on the table exists. And the ultimate reality exists, which is that there is no other reality than the idea of a cup in our mind. And that's why we can put coffee in it and drink it.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, because I've always heard Geshe-la say, you know, if you don't think the car outside and if you don't think, if you don't kind of get into this nihilistic view that nothing's real, you know, and go walk out into traffic and watch the non-existent car break your non-existent legs, right?
So it is a type of reality.
There has to be some interaction. I mean, we can't say that nothing's real, but and that's kind of, so you're saying that there's a deceptive nature. I'm just making sure you're like,
but real is also a synonym for self-existent, and so in the middle way school we say nothing is real, and that's why that's the only reason that love must return love, and unfortunately pain must return pain.
I don't disagree at all. I mean, I just think, you know, it's just one of those things where I kind of have this I guess in my head I was getting a little like, we can't say that nothing is real, but
I think that's one of the synonyms though for self-existence.
I guess well, in the context of like semantics then and
Yeah.
terms and usage, there's an everyday reality that we experience where like experience and reality could be also tied up in accurate perception too, because we know that things exist if they're kind of perceived by an accurate perception. So if
yeah, I mean, I wonder what the Tibetan word is, right? That we're right, because we can get ourselves caught in the English etymology when we're, you know, but what's the Tibetan word, I wonder, that we're translating here as real? And is it specifically, would it be included in the list of synonyms in the middle way for what we deny?
I'll find, well, I guess we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I bet we will. I bet we will. We better run. We got to go to I'm sorry, Sugang. Thank you. I'm sorry. We took your time for a second.
I was enjoying your conversation and I wish you could continue further.
I enjoy you too. Okay. Thanks. We'll see you soon, buddy.
All right. So thank you. Okay, Marina, over to you for a while. We can hear you, Marina.
Thanks, Sugang.
You're welcome. See you. I don't know. I can't hear Marina.